Phones. You're the phone guy, so let's talk phones.
I love how enthusiastic that was. So here we are, phones.
Phones. Here we go. So I don't cover much outside of like the classic Samsung, iPhone, Pixel. But that's because who needs to watch my video when you're covering all of them? I mean, they're just perfect in of themselves. But in terms of like the state of phones that we're in, I feel like everyone has kind of reached a moment where it's like things are kind of peaking.
Here it is. Here it is. This is my next video.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I mean, this will go up, so we won't step on any toes. But it's great to know. I'll write off that title.
Sure.
Title this podcast clip the same thing. Anyways, it's a feeling of like, you know, I update every year because we're making videos about it. But when I talk to my family, when I talk to my friends who necessarily aren't directly in the space, they're rocking a phone from like 3 years ago.
And it's fine.
Yeah, and it's fine. And it's been shocking to see how well iOS is running on like still an iPhone 6.
Yeah, they're really good at that.
You know?
Yeah.
So from a, maybe not just like, you know, a content standpoint as someone who makes videos about phones, but as a person who uses a lot of these phones, like what are your feelings about it outside of, we don't want to step on the toes of the video.
Yeah.
But well, just some thoughts.
Can I rephrase your question?
Oh, totally.
Would your question be something along the lines of, are we at peak smartphone?
Yes. That is what I would ask.
That's where I was thinking.
Are we at peak smartphone?
Yeah, are we at peak smartphone? And I think the answer is twofold. I think it's a little bit of yes and no.
Oh, I wish you would have
had the Galaxy Fold with you.
Yeah, that would have been great.
But I mean, speaking of the Galaxy Fold, you have crazy phones now that fold in half. You have 120 hertz displays now. You have 5,000 milliamp hour batteries. You have 100 megapixel cameras. You have all this stuff that we've like never seen in phones before. And maybe a phone that has it all in one place. Maybe you have a Galaxy S20 has all these things in one place. So in that sense, like, yeah, no, we're not at peak smartphone. It gets better by a lot every year. And if it doesn't seem like it does, it's because you're not paying attention to the things that suddenly fold in half or the wild form factor changes. But on the other hand, have we reached peak car? I mean, everything has four wheels, an engine. Well,
I mean,
a chassis.
Shoot. I know you love your Teslas, but have you been in a regular car lately?
I mean, they're all
because my problem is all of the buttons, and they're so hideous.
Yep.
And there's no place to put this thing that everyone has.
You would love a Model 3. Yeah, it's exactly So like when I think about that same question, like when have we reached peak smartphone? They all have a screen, they all have the cameras, they all have the same shape, they're all glass, they all charge, they all go online, like fine. The same way like we're at peak car in that everything has four wheels and everything has a steering wheel and whatever, but now we have electric cars that are a completely different animal.
Because that's what I see. It's like Tesla, there's some people who are like messing up crap over in that industry, you know? Yeah. And it's really intriguing to watch. When I see I mean, you know, I have a Galaxy Fold and it's super fun. And I love like scrolling on a Twitter timeline on that beautiful phone. But I never see it as something that someone's actually going to buy. A lot of people are buying Teslas.
Well, this is the first gen problem is we have this new idea, this new form factor, which is what if we could fold a bigger screen into a smaller space? And so if you think of like the first iPhone, that kind of was one of the thoughts was like, there's no apps, there's no, like, do people want to buy $1,000? Do people really want to buy this? Yeah. I mean, and 2 or 3 generations in it, like
$600 for inflation is probably,
right. But it proved itself over time. Yeah. And obviously people do want to buy it. But I think the idea in 2 or 3 generations will start to mature and get legs and really be useful to a regular person. Where right now, we have like the Razr, the Galaxy Fold, the Mate X, and the Royale FlexPi. So not a whole lot of conviction there. I saw that at
CES. Yeah, that was kind of a hideous phone, to be honest. That FlexPi. I was like, whoa.
If people only saw that, like if people only saw the Nissan Leaf as the only electric car, they'd be like, well, these seem silly.
My dad owned a Nissan Leaf. Shout out to Papa Peach.
Did he love it though?
You know what's so funny? I would never think of him as like a forward-thinking person who cares about the environment or anything, but he has been a wild supporter of the electric car since the get-go, and he loved that Leaf because he only had he only drove like 25 miles a day for a short commute to work, and so he loved that he could just plug in his car. And I mean, I thought it was hideous.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to compare the FlexPi to the Leaf. Like the FlexPi was truly bad, and the Leaf was useful for some people. So I guess but like if you only see the one that doesn't seem to work for you, you won't think of the whole movement as useful. But when they start to come out, now you have a Chevy Bolt and you have the i3 and you have the Model 3, and suddenly there's more options, and you're like, I think there's something to that. Maybe in a year or two we'll be there.
Yeah, I guess it's the prices that I think is what makes it so hard to get right now. Because even, the Chevy Bolt, I mean, that is a very expensive car for what you're getting. But in terms of, I just had some Sailor come out and me getting, sorry about that. In terms of folding screens, what gets me the most excited is I don't need my phone to get smaller, but I want to bring on like an iPad and slip it maybe into like a sweatshirt pocket. I can't wait until that folds. I don't know if that'll ever happen.
You saw the Surface Neo, which is like the same size and super thin. Like if Apple made that in a year or two and it had no bezel in the middle, like that's the size of an iPad, 10.9 or whatever this is. So
sign me up. That's what I'm ready for.